Hi there. Welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today we're concentrating our energy doing slow targeted Pilates using the Swiss ball. If you don't have a Swiss ball at your disposal, you're going to play freestyle on the mat today. As always, play with your comfortable, modify if you need to, rest as often as need be. You ready? Let's hit the mat. We're going to set up for today's class coming into a seat on the Swiss ball. Sitting up nice and tall with your feet in parallel. If you're doing this freestyle, you're just going to find a comfortable parallel standing frame on the mat. Hands relaxed either at your side or on your lap. You're going to begin with a few pelvic tilts. Start in a relaxed sitting or standing stance and give me a little tilt of your pelvis to the 12 o'clock position and then bring it back to neutral. If you're sitting on the ball, try to keep yourself as level on the ball as you can. So try to not to dip lower on one side. If you're doing this from a standing frame, make sure that you're keeping your shoulders and your hips even on both sides. Tilting, finding that little contraction in the core, almost finding a lengthening in the lower back, and then easing your way back to neutral. Find your way back to neutral and begin adding to your pelvic tilt. Tuck both hands behind your head in a surrender-like fashion with your elbows nice and wide. Begin in neutral spine. Tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock, hold it, and then drop one elbow down towards the floor. Come back to the center line and ease your pelvis back to neutral. Tilt to 12, hold it, dip down on the opposite elbow, find your way back to center, and relax your spine back into neutral. Let's do that 4 more rounds. Tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock, hold it, drop down on one elbow, other elbow reaches tall for the sky, ease your way back to center, and relax your spine back to neutral. Tilt, hold, drop one elbow, bring it back, relax everything to neutral. Tilt and hold, drop one elbow, hold, come back to center, relax to neutral. Tilt, hold, drop one elbow, hold, back to center, relax to neutral. Let's begin adding to that work. Tilt and hold, drop one elbow, and then open up the arms, forging an L-like frame between the two arms. Come back to your start position and relax your spine to neutral. Tilt and hold, drop one elbow, open up the arms, tuck them back behind your head, bring yourself back to neutral. Tilt and hold, drop one elbow, open up, tuck the arms back behind your head, and find your way back to neutral. Tilt and hold, drop one elbow, open, bend the arms back, bring yourself back to neutral. Let's do one more set. Tilt and hold, drop one elbow, open up, tuck the hands behind your head, find your way back to neutral. Last one. Tilt to 12, hold it, drop one elbow, open up the arms, put your hands back behind your head and find your way back to neutral. Then find your way to a standing frame. From here, we're going to do some back lunges. If you're doing this freestyle, you're going to position yourself standing at the front end of the mat and you're just going to take some lunge steps back. Focusing on one side first before you change sides. If you're working with the ball, stand up nice and tall and place the bridge of the toes of one foot on the ball behind you. Stand up nice and tall and then think of giving me a lunge back and allow the ball to slide along the leg as you keep lunging. Floating your arms out in front to help with your balance. And we're just going to shoot for 5 on each side. Once you've done 5 on one side, change sides. Placing the top of your foot on the ball, taking a little lunge, slide back, allowing that ball to slide along your shin bone. Find your way back to neutral. Come back to your seat on the ball or find your standing frame if you're playing freestyle. Feet and knees, hip width distance apart, neutral spine, hands tucked behind your head in a surrender-like fashion. Big breath in. You're going to gently tilt first and then twist off center to one side. Pause. Bring yourself back to the center line and relax the tilt in your pelvis. Tilt to 12, hold it, twist off center to the other side. Bring yourself back to center, relax to neutral. Tilt, twist. Reverse your way back to neutral. Tilt, twist, back to neutral, relaxing that spine. Tilt, twist, elbows stay nice and wide, find your way back to neutral. Tilt, twist, find your way back to neutral. Tilt, twist, ease your way back to neutral. Tilt, twist, back to neutral. Let's do one more set like this, and then we'll begin tweaking it slightly. Take a recovery breath if you need to, relaxing through the shoulders. Let's add to that basic twist. Find your setup frame, tilt, twist, and then open up the arms, forging a T-like frame, tapping the wall on either side. Tuck the hands back behind your head and find your way back into neutral. Tilt, hold the tilt, twist, open up and reach. Tuck the hands back. Bring everything back to neutral. Tilt, twist, open. Tuck, back to neutral. Tilt, twist, open. As you begin finding a steady rhythm of your own, make sure that as you find that tilt, you hold it for the rest of the movement before you bring yourself back to neutral. Make sure that you're keeping a nice tall stance, whether you're seated or whether you're standing and playing freestyle without the ball. Last one. And then we'll come back into that standing lunge line on the ball or playing freestyle if you prefer. Find your stand, place the top of your foot on the ball, take a lunge step back, allowing the ball to slide along the top of your shin bone, and then bleed your way back, doing 5 lunges on each side. Once you've done 5, we're going to change sides. Maybe taking a nice exhale as you execute the lunge, and then a nice recovery inhale as you peel your way back to center. Find your way onto the ball one last time. This time, hands on the tops of your thighs. If you're doing this freestyle, you're going to find a seated frame on the mat and you're going to execute a half a roll down from there. Start relaxed. Tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock. Nod your chin to your chest. Hollow out your belly, round out your back. Giving me a little C curve. And then peel your way back to center. Playing with a little C curve frame. Use your tailbone as your guideline. So begin in neutral, whether you're playing on the floor or on the ball. Think of curling that tailbone in, almost making a shrimp-like frame with it, making sure that you're looking into center as you're rounding up. All right, let's start taking it all the way down to the mat or all the way down to the ball. Begin with the hands on the tops of your thighs. Tilt your pelvis to the 12 o'clock position. Start hollowing out your belly, round out your back, and roll all the way down onto the ball till your shoulders touch. Reach your arms up to the sky. And then slowly as you can, retrace your path back, looking in towards your belly button, both on the roll down action, as well as on the roll up action. Make sure when you're rolling down and rolling up that you're staying even through the pelvis and even through the shoulders. So your challenge is to move down evenly through the body. Watch that you're not leading with the stronger side and dipping one hip or one shoulder lower than the other as you execute the roll down. Use your breath, sync your movement and your breath cycle. Let's do 3 more and then we'll find our way into a standing frame. Last one. If you're playing freestyle, from here you're just going to find your way back into a standing forward lunge. If you're playing with the ball, you're going to change your orientation slightly. You're going to place one foot on the ball, but you're going to open up your body to the side of the room. Think Captain Morgan. You're going to place one hand on the top of your knee, other hand on your thigh. You can actually place both hands. Let's do the proper Captain Morgan. All right. You're going to roll that ball away from you and bring it back to your start position. And we're going to shoot for 10 targeted repetitions. I'm going to call that 7. 6, if you're doing lunges, you're going to give me 10 on each side. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Let's change sides. Find your setup frame. Make sure that you're opening up your body to the side of the room, sliding that ball away from you and back to your start position. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. We're going to find our way back to that C curve that we played with in the previous round, and we'll change it up slightly, whether you're playing freestyle or on the ball. Begin in your relaxed stance, and when you're rolling it down through the C curve, watch your shoulders, watch your hips, make sure you come down evenly. Begin in neutral. Start tilting your pelvis to 12 o'clock, hollow out your belly, round out your back, start rolling all the way down, floating the arms overhead or placing them gently on the ball if you need to. You're going to give me a little marching bridge and then peel all the way back up to your start position. Tilt, start rolling down, pause, and march, and then peel back up to your start position. If you need to, as you roll back, place both hands on the ball and then come back to your start position. So maybe think of modifying if you need to, just giving me a half a roll down if you find that you can't control the ball, and come back to your start position. Otherwise, all the way onto the shoulders, lifting off one foot at a time, peeling all the way back to start. And just shoot for 5 slow and controlled repetitions. Even if you just bring one foot off the mat for a second and then change. Then peel your way back to the center line. Place your fingertips softly on the ball behind you. Lean off the center line. Give me knee to nose. Pause. Extend the leg, kick away, and peel back. And we're going to alternate side to side. If you're doing this freestyle, think of sitting on the mat and just giving me a little L lean back as you play with that bend and extend of the leg. So drawing the leg into table and then softly extending the leg away, almost as if you were trying to push the wall away from you before coming back to your start position. And just keeping those fingertips softly on the ball or on the floor behind you as you play with that bend and extend through the legs. Let's do 2 more sets and then we'll play with that Captain Morgan one more time, or you can just give me a lunge line forward if you're playing freestyle. Find your way back to your setup frame, foot on the ball, hands on your hips, slide the ball away and come back to your start position. Slide the ball away and come back. Let's do 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, change sides. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. If you're playing freestyle, you're going to find your way into a supine position, so lying down on your back. If you're playing on the ball, we're going to do the chest lift or the crunch from a seated position. Sitting up nice and tall, you're going to tuck both hands behind your head. You're going to think of that C curve that we played with in the previous round. So you're going to peel all the way down till your lower back and mid back touches the ball, and then peel back up to your start position. If you're playing freestyle, you're going to lie down on your back. You're going to tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock. You're going to peel your chest off the mat, stopping on your lower and your mid back is imprinted. Pause, and then peel back to your start position. If you want to, you can place both hands crossed over your chest, and you can do your crunch line from here. Let's do 2 more. Last one. Take yourself into a soft little forward fold from here, placing both hands on the floor if you can, and just hang here, giving yourself a little release into the lower back. Crown nice and heavy to the floor. Both feet grounded and looking forward. Peel all the way up, and let's work a modified around the world. Cross both wrists in front of your chest. Make a little fist and just relax them on your chest. Think of peeling down onto the shoulders and then a little round the world. Keep moving for 5 traces, slow traces in one direction. And peel up. Come back into the forward fold. And lift your heels off the mat 5 times while holding that forward fold. Sit back up nice and tall. Cross the arms over your chest. Tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock. Roll all the way down till your shoulders just touch. And then do your little around the world revolution, tracing in the opposite direction. So if you did clockwise in round 1, you're going to shoot for anti-clockwise this time. Give yourself a few revolutions here. Then peel back up, come into your forward fold, and give me 5 heel lifts off the mat. So just lifting and lowering your heels off the mat while holding that soft forward fold. All right, let's combine the 2 together. Give me a little roll down and then around the world and crunch back up. Roll down, around the world in the opposite direction, so you're alternating your trace. Tilt and roll down, around the world, peel back up. Tilt and roll down, around the world, alternating clockwise and anti-clockwise every time you give me around the world. Roll it down, around the world. Let's do 1 more set, so 1 around the world to each side. Last one. You're going to peel back up into a forward fold, and this time you're going to lift all 10 toes off the mat and maybe the ball of your foot, and then relax back down. Holding that soft forward fold on the ball. Last one. From here, you're going to set yourself up in a seated frame at the top end of the mat, and we are going to be rolling it down. So if you know that you need some padding for your back, please place it in position now. We're going to do the roll down from parallel. So feet open in parallel, actively braced. You're going to give me a squeeze into the ball. Ball is floating at about shoulder height to begin the movement. Squeeze into the ball. Keep that squeeze active. Nod your chin to your chest. Peel down one vertebra at a time into the roll down. Floating the ball overhead, maybe softly tapping into the mat behind you. Then inhale, halfway lift. Then somebody's pulling the ball away from you for the rest of the move. Sit up nice and tall. Just give me 5 controlled roll downs, keeping an active squeeze into the ball, or mimicking holding a ball between the 2 arms if you are playing freestyle. Sync your movement to your breath. Let's do one more roll down and then we'll end seated. Keep that parallel stance, squeezing into the ball. Twist off center to one side, bring it back. Keep that squeeze, keep that nice tall seat, so make sure you're not leaning forward or leaning backwards as you twist. So you need to keep your inner thighs switched on and you need to keep pulling up from the pelvic floor towards your waistline. Last one. Let's roll it down again. Nod your chin to your chest, peel it down, tap the ball to the mat behind you. Inhale halfway. This time as you roll up, give me a soft little forward fold as if you wanted to reach the ball past your toes before coming back to your start position. Inhale to sit up nice and tall. Use the whole exhale to peel down with control. Inhale, halfway lift. Use the rest of your exhale to peel back up and fold forward. Then end seated up nice and tall. Keep that tall seat and float the ball overhead and back to parallel. Keep squeezing into the ball. If you're playing freestyle, you're going to mimic squeezing the ball between the 2 arms as you float the hands from about shoulder height to overhead. The feet stay active, your inner thighs stay active, and you keep pulling up that zip from your pelvic floor towards your waistline to maintain your high seat. All right, let's take it back to our roll down. Peel it down, tapping the ball overhead, and then peeling back up. Use your breath. Reaching past your toes and getting a nice little stretch into the lower back and the trunk. Then end up nice and tall, float the ball overhead and begin to circle. Give me 5 big circular traces in one direction. I'm moving clockwise on the first round, keeping that high seat with active feet, active inner thighs, active core, and then change it up and trace 5 in the opposite direction. Inhaling for half of your circle and exhaling while maintaining that tall seat. All right, let's tie all of this together. If you need to, you can rest the ball on the top of your thighs for a second and shake out your hands if they're starting to quake and shiver. Sit up nice and tall, squeeze into the ball and give me 1 roll down and roll up. When you find your way into a seated frame, float the ball overhead and trace the circular pattern clockwise. Then roll it back down. Tap the ball to the mat behind you. Roll it back up. Float the ball overhead and trace anti-clockwise before coming back into your roll down. If you're playing freestyle, you're just going to float the arms in parallel the whole time, mimicking squeezing into an imaginary ball as you play with this sequencing. Make sure that you keep your inhalations and your exhalations going, so don't hold the breath as you're playing. Try to sync your movement effortlessly to your breath cycle. Rolling up and down, and then taking an overhead circular trace. Let's do one more set, so one more trace to each side before we find our way into a supine frame. So last one. We're going to roll it down one more time, and we are going to let the padding go once you've made your way down onto the mat. So peel it down. Once you're connected to the mat, bend your knees, connect the soles of the feet, make sure that there's no padding underneath your head. Relax and weight your shoulders into the mat. Keep them weighted and keep squeezing into the ball. Float your legs up into a tabletop position. And keeping that 90-degree behind your knee, we're going to toe tap single on each side, and then a double either halfway or all the way to the mat. Don't just hinge from the knee and tap by your bum. Hinge from the hip as you give me that single tap on each side, and then a double. Single, single, double. Single, single, double. Single, single, double. Let's do 5 more. Two more sets to go. After you've completed your last one, you're going to give me a soft U-hold on the mat. Think of peeling up off your shoulders, make a soft hollowed out frame while squeezing into the ball and hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop down into a bridge setup from here. If you are playing with the ball, you're going to execute your bridge with your feet on the ball. Bend your knees and just think of softly wrapping the undercarriage of your foot around the ball. Arms are soft and relaxed at your side. Try to keep your feet and knees relatively hip-width distance apart. You're going to keep pushing down softly into the ball. You're going to begin in neutral spine, tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock. Peel up into a bridge line, pushing your feet off the ball. Make sure you're nice and even through the hips. And just try to hold your bridge for a soft count of 10. If you're working on the ball, try not to allow the ball to skitter away from you, so keep the weight even through the feet, through the pelvis, through the shoulders. Then softly peel back down to the mat. Walk the ball into recovery behind your thighs. Scoop to peel up off the shoulders and give me a 100 with your palm facing down. We're going to do 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Slowly peel back down to the mat. We're coming back into the bridge line and we're going to add a little marching motion. Walk the ball away from you till you can wrap your feet around the edge of the ball. Actively push down into the ball. Begin in neutral spine, tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock. Peel all the way up into your bridge line. And then see if you can come into a little marching bridge. Lifting one foot at a time off the ball. Trying to stay as even as you can through the shoulders and the hips. We're just going to do 5 little marches. So one lift of each foot off the ball completes 1 repetition, and you're going to try to do that a total of 5 times. Then find your way slowly back down to the mat. Walk the ball back into recovery so the ball is flush behind your thighs. And we're going to do 5 more 100s. Tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock, scoop to peel up off the shoulders, arms are facing down. Peel back down to the mat. We're going to bring ourselves into an inverted plank line from here. Place your feet on the ball. Walk it away until you get that wrap around that you just played with in the bridge. And then gently begin to slide the ball away from you. Fully extending your legs so you feel like you're pushing down through the heels of your feet. You're going to brace softly with your palms and you're going to lift your belly and your bum towards the sky, and you're going to hold for a slow count of 10. If you're doing this freestyle on the mat, sans ball, you're going to change the setup frame slightly. You're going to come into a high seat. You're going to drag the hands behind you till they're just underneath the shoulders. Feet are clipped together, and you're going to try to root your feet into the mat and lift your bum out to the sky. If you can't get your soles of the feet to touch the mat, try giving me a turnout position with the feet and knife edge your feet as you peel up. Hold your inverted plank line, whether you're playing freestyle or whether you're playing with the ball. Try to notice whether you're even through the shoulders, even through the hips. And then peel your way softly back down to your start position, either coming to a seated frame or walking back into recovery, and find your way back into a set of 100s. This time we're going to do palm up. So ball flush against your thighs, scoop to peel up off the shoulders, invert your hands, palm up, and execute your 100 from here. Keep that rhythm going. Make sure you're hinging from the shoulder joint, lower and mid back, scooped and imprinted, weight off the shoulders, about 2 fingers of air between the chin and the chest, and that core is working nice and hard to hold that frame. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Slowly peel back down to the mat. Take a recovery breath or 2. We're going to find our way back into that inverted plank line, and then we'll try to execute a slow lift of one leg off the ball or off the floor, depending on where you play. Walk the ball out. Stop when your feet start to wrap around the curve of the ball. Then begin to extend the ball away from you, coming to rest on the heels of your feet. Make sure you're anchoring down and that you stay even through the hips and even through the shoulders as you push off to float your belly and your bum up towards the sky. Let's see if you can lift one leg off the ball, floating it up towards 90 or maybe just hovering off the ball, and hold for a slow count of 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, reconnect to the ball, relax your way back to neutral, find your way into recovery, just taking a soft breath or two. You can execute 5 100s from here. Palm up. Last one. Peel softly back down to the mat. Walk the ball away from you. Stop when your feet start wrapping around the outer curve of the ball. Begin to fully extend the legs. Make sure you're pushing off your heels as you begin to float your bum off the mat, hiking the hips up to the sky. Lift the other leg off the ball and hold for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, reconnect to the ball. Slowly ease your way back into recovery and set yourself up for your last set of inverted 100s. Palms are looking up to the sky. Scoop to peel up off the shoulders and begin your movement. Inhaling for 5, exhaling for 5 as you vigorously pump the arms up and down, hinging from the shoulder. Last one. From here, we're going to find our way back into a seated frame. If you're playing freestyle, extend the legs, open them up into parallel. Make sure you're braced and kicked. Begin in neutral spine. Drop the ball overhead to the floor behind you, and then nod your chin to your chest. Peel up into a high seat and give me a soft little forward fold. As you're in seated, try to hook the ball over your toes and just hold that stretch. Almost pushing softly into the ball with your toes and holding a gentle forward fold for a slow count of 10. Just getting a little release into the lower and the mid back. Trunk is getting a nice stretch. Arms and feet are actively getting into that stretch as well. Let's hold for 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're going to find your way from here into a modified child. Open up the legs nice and wide, tucking your ball between the thighs, and then just gently hugging into the ball, relaxing onto one cheek for a slow count of 5. And then gently rotating your head so that you're getting a little stretch into the neck area and resting on your opposite cheek for a slow count of 5. If you're doing this freestyle on the mat, sans ball, you can just gently find your way into child pose, resting on your stacked forearms on one cheek for a slow count of 5, and then rotating onto the other cheek for a slow count of 5. And then that wraps up your practice for today. Thank you so much for coming out and joining me today. I do hope that you enjoyed today's class. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Shoot me your comments. Make sure your notifications are on. and be ready to work and play on the mat tomorrow. Till then, keep it light.